joined today by Dalila, Jasmine, and Amanda from Elevate Phoenix. Yeah.
Getting party started already.
Get it started, ladies. So Elevate Phoenix mission is building long-term relationships, life-changing relationships with the youth, equipping them to thrive and contribute to their community. It's an amazing organization that I've known about now for just over about a year. And I will say you guys welcome me with open arms. And it's just been something that has helped me grow as a person actually over the last year or so. I've been able to kind of get into some fun situations with y'all, get to know some of these kids. So making an impact there.
Family for life.
Yeah, yes. Family for life. So yeah, I'll just kind of throw out first question out there for you. You guys feel free to take what order you want to. Actually, you know what? Let's introduce you all first. So, Miss Jazz.
Yes.
Woo woo.
Go for it.
Yes. So I am Jasmine Hall, and I am the development director. I started with Elevate Phoenix. Can't believe it, but I was the second pipeline, not even original, but second pipeline. What is that? 12. It was in 2012. Yeah. That's when we started the second pipeline. Yes. And so I know my boss and mentor introduced me to this world, and seeing the transformation that takes place, I knew after 4 years of creating our full entire pipeline that I wanted to see us grow and impact even more lives, because I was just so blown away and being a part of so many different things within the community for so long and living in Arizona almost all my life. Like, I've never seen something so transformative in my entire life. So I was like, you know what? Let's see this grow. And stepped my career of development world. And I was like, what is this? But I did know that I had passion and I knew how to do relationships very well. Hence where I'm at with the development director today.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love it.
Jazz does not have a shortage of passion.
Not at all.
That is for sure.
Energy. I was talking to folks this morning. I said, everybody needs a Jasmine in their life, in their organization, in their life. Everybody needs one of those.
That is true. That's true.
A family that works well together.
Yes, we got one. We got the original.
The OG.
I love you guys.
There it is. So either one of you ladies want to go ahead and go?
I'll go next, and I'll let our
fearless leader
right here
Mm-hmm.
finish us out. Well, my name is Amanda Covarrubias. Please try and say that 5 times fast. But our students know me as Miss Amanda. So like Jazz, I also started as a teacher mentor at our first pipeline, which was Cesar Chavez High School in 2010. So we started in 2009 with our fearless leader right here. So I was really privileged to be able to come on to her team. And that was amazing. That was so much fun. Watching the organization grow was amazing. So Jazz, her interest was, let's grow and let's develop this. Let's see where we can take it to. My thought was education, right? How can we make this thing better? How can we better equip young people to be ready for the world?
Yes.
I mean, the education system is terrible,
Yeah.
and we're trying to affect
broken.
Change in that area. So I thought, okay, how can we add on to that? What other curriculum, what other things, life skills can we add to this, or just build upon what we set out to do with our 13 character qualities and life skills to really make an impact with young people? So served at Cesar Chavez High School for about 10 years, and then transitioned to the education coordinator and then the education director.
Yeah.
So I've had the privilege of being in this space. I love it. I still get to be with kids sometimes, and I love that part. I think all of us, like,
we have
get
to
our
have
kid
it.
fix.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
We can go in and sub. We can go in and have meetings, post-secondary meetings with our young people and with our teacher mentors, our teammates. So it's been awesome.
Do you like as high schoolers? Like, is that your jam?
Yes.
Yeah.
And honestly, junior hires too.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
They're a wild bunch. No one can understand.
No one understands.
Yeah.
Right? Junior high is the wildest time.
Yeah.
It's like you got all shapes,
You gotta
and
love it.
sizes, and colors. It's everywhere.
Really, all of us know that, especially with junior high, you really just go with who they decide to be that day.
Yeah,
Grow
that's
up
right.
or
Right.
little.
Yes.
And you treat them accordingly.
It's so true.
And that's pretty much it. That's
And And this is why everybody needs a Miss Amanda in their lives.
Yes.
And we got one.
We got one of those too.
Once again. Yes. I guess it's me. Like, yeah, right?
Fearless leader.
My name is Dalila Gamper, and I serve as the executive director for Elevate. Started in its very beginning. So I was one of the first hires as a teacher mentor. So started the Cesar Chavez pipeline. Before that, it didn't exist in Arizona.
Yeah.
And so it was on paper. And I was like, this looks amazing. Where do I sign up? Oh, we're creating it. Oh, we're creating it. Okay. And so I come from an education background. So in my past life, I started off as a teacher. And so I loved education. I love that it's a change agent.
Yes.
So I feel like anyone can get a hold of that and they can change their lives in different kind of ways. And so I started off in that space and saw that my hands were just a little tied. I can only help so far in the education space, but I saw so much need in the other space, and that need affects how they get education. And so when Elevate came along, I was like, sign me up. I get to do the education and I get to love the whole kid for all of the beautifulness, all of the ugliness, all of it. And so when you, all the crazy, yes, all of the crazy for sure. But I think when you get to do life with them in that way and you get to serve in some needs that are necessary, you know, if you're hungry, you're not listening to anything I have to say. Right. Your stomach is talking louder than what I have to say. Yeah. So if we can help in that need, or, you know, some things are happening at home that they, that's not steering them in the right way, or that just has their focus in a whole other space, then they're not going to pay attention to anything you have to say or anything education-wise. So I think when you get to help in both those spaces, that's when change happens. Yeah. And just like they said, like nobody cares about how much you know until they care about or know how much you care. And so I think we do that as an organization, just loving kids well, coming alongside them, in life. And so the best way I say what we do is we do life with our kids. And so from the very beginning, the very first class that happened in the spring of 2010, I'm still in relationship with so many of those kids from that first class.
That's amazing.
I call them kids, but they are grown. They
all got their own families.
30, they are married. They have kids of their own, but they're always going to be my kids.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think when we say long-term, life-changing relationships, this is exactly what we mean.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I will have to say for the biggest part that like takes my whole heart with these kids is like, they're literally like my heroes. Like you see the resilience on, you can pick any class at any time as being a part of this. Like I literally like people like say, oh, what organization you work for? I don't think of work. I can like literally sit and smile because I think of a specific kid. Yeah. And I think of a specific time. And I look at just how much they endure and like come out on the other side. Like I just smile because I'm so in awe of the tenacity of every single one of our kids. So like we are the ones that are honored to come alongside them, that they let us into their lives. So when we say we really earn the right to do life with them, we have to do that because this world has let all these kids down for so many different ways. So like when we come in, we're making this promise to them to build long-term life-changing relationships. So in order for them to like pour back into us, we have to prove that to them, and we're here for it. We're here for all of it.
I'll say I think that the opportunities that you guys are able to put in front of them, that they all strive for, is amazing. Like every time I leave one of your events, I'm just like, man, like if they weren't around, that kid wouldn't have that opportunity. And they're so like, some of these kids are just, they're so smart.
Oh my gosh, they are.
And they, I mean, you like read some of these jobs and these careers that they want to go into. And
I know.
Right.
All right. All right. We're setting standards high here. Right? But, you know, you guys are walking the talk for sure.
Well, you know, really quick, just on that note, it's kind of crazy because I feel like it's grown to that. Yeah. Because wasn't it like one of our very first few classes? I remember hearing a story like that out of one of you guys' classes, and somebody asked, well, what do you want to be when I grow up? And a kid said an ex-con because that's all they saw.
Oh, wow.
that was like the beginnings.
Right.
And
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
15 years later,
Yeah.
they're saying ex-con is somebody that I go help and serve and do a service project for. Now,
Yes.
what do you want to be when I grow up? You're hearing biomedical engineer,
Yeah.
astronaut.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I can't even say some of the words that some of these kids are wanting to be now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I think
amazing.
it all stems from just being able to see the potential. Like we see the potential, we want to grow that.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the few things that we started off with is you see a kid and they can be in a hopeless situation or a hopeless place in life, a
Mhm.
space. And our job is to hold the hope for them until they can hold it for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think as we're doing that along with life, and as we're like, oh, like they got it now, and you give them
Yeah.
this hope and they take off.
Yeah.
Like you held it for me when I didn't see it for myself. You saw a leader. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So many kids are called leaders the first time when they're in their classes. Now, some of them, they like to lead in a different kind of direction. So for us, it's, switching up the direction of how they're leading, but nonetheless, like being able to see what they can't see in themselves. And I think they just rise to the occasion and then above that.
Okay.
So it's been amazing.
So you guys are obviously coming up on this is your 15th
This is
year
15
anniversary.
years.
Yes.
Woo, woo.
So, like, over the years, what have been maybe some of the biggest challenges that you've been able to overcome? I mean, we've talked about already, like, mindset has changed, right?
Yeah.
Like, mindset has changed. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
But is there any maybe like little things that, you guys also talk about stacking bricks all the time, right?
Yeah.
So are there any like little bricks along the way
I
that
think-
have really, kind of helped elevate the program?
Yeah. I think I think so many people invest in buildings, right? So this is the stepping stones we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't necessarily just put our focus in a building and have kids come to us. We go to where kids are. So they're in the schools. We have our programs in that space. When they're out of schools, we're in that time frame. Because, when you get out of school, there's a certain amount of time that kids can get into some crazy. So when you make yourself available to hang out and show interest in their interests during that time, less likely for them to get in trouble in all those spaces. And I think one of the things like our folks do a really great job at is being consistent. Like for anything, if you want to be able to make anything work, to be successful in anything, you have to have consistency in it. And so I think our folks do a really good job coming alongside and being consistent. Like we don't want to add on to our kids, abandonment issues or add on to, people being flaky in their lives. And so for us, even our vetting is a long system for our folks that we hire into the space, because we don't just hire warm bodies.
Right.
It's not just, we need somebody to work here. No, we need to know, like, you are going to be the kind of person that is going to be there for a kid. And when they're in their ugly and when they're having tantrums, that you're not going to give up on them, that she's still going to show up.
Or catch offense.
Yes, exactly. And so I think that's one of the biggest things. And that's something that is one of the stepping stones in Elevate. That we can say, okay, our folks do this really well to be able to come alongside kids. And I think too, just being able to show them different than what they've been dished out in the world.
That's so good.
So everybody, when they come through our door, we let them know like they have something to give. Everyone has something to give.
Yeah.
So although Elevate, provides all these services for kids and their families, the flip end is you guys have something to give too. And so our focus, even when they first come in, they may feel like they have nothing, but you have something. You always have something to give. And so our push is give back too.
Yeah.
So you're not just on the receiving end, even if it's a smile to someone. Do you know what that can do for somebody's day?
Yeah.
Wow.
A smile, and it costs you nothing.
Yeah.
Costs you nothing to show your teeth.
Yeah.
And so just some kind of act of kindness, asking somebody how they're doing today, coming outside of everything's about me, or, because teenagers, I got a couple of them. They are the center of their universe. And so when they can go outside of themselves to see how somebody else is doing, and I think all those things make a difference. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, I think on the curriculum aspect, we've always had really good curriculum. We started with our foundational teachings of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, which is great. Now, the brick that you're talking about is entitlement, right?
Yeah.
We have a very entitled generation of teenagers, And so our thought is, how do we use this curriculum to really show them what it means to be proactive, right? To show them what it means to do the work, to really let these opportunities that are maybe challenging or could definitely take them down a wrong path and turn it into an opportunity, turn it into something that builds resilience, that builds their grit.
So good.
So I think across the board, all of us holding this high standard and say, no, you can get there.
Yeah.
But guess what? You're going to do the work.
Right.
We're going to be there to bolster you. We're going to be there to support you, but you're going to do the work.
Yeah.
So I think that for me has been huge. I think for all of us to say the kids that come out of our program are resilient. They have some grit.
Yeah.
They're less entitled. Not saying they're fully out of that, but
they're working their way out.
Right.
Yeah, and it's that give back, right?
Yeah.
We're teaching them to go, not just take what they're given, right? Take all this rich curriculum and this love and support and hoard it to themselves, but then turn that outward and give it back to their community.
Yeah. And one area that I also really hold near and dear is something that is a foundational that our fearless leaders set up for us, and that's the culture of Elevate. And the culture of Elevate is what makes us so unique, unlike almost any other area of organization, job, anything I've ever been a part of.
What's that mean to you?
So the culture for me, we've showed what a functioning family can and should look like.
Love that.
When you hear like, oh, we're like family, some companies get a little, oh, that means you're gonna take advantage, or oh, that means they're gonna want everything from me, but
or it's gonna be dysfunctional.
Right?
Yeah.
But we've literally created such a safe place for both our kids and our employees alike, because we want people, like we said, like we want our kids to show grit. Well, guess where they're gonna learn that from? Right? And so we make sure that our people that work for us are poured into, they feel supported, they feel loved, they feel appreciated, they feel cared for. So now they're in the overflow and letting that pour out onto all of their kids to feel this. And so now when they're kids, and every person that we hire could have probably been one of these kids very easily. I know all of us have.
Absolutely.
And so now we've kind of had these people that stepped into our lives at one point or another and said, hey, you're worth the investment. We care enough about you as the person simply just because who you are. And so now we display that. And so now our kids feel that safety, that comfort. And now most people do more things out of relationship than they do out of necessity. Yeah. So when that kid was hungry and dealing with all the family issues, parents being deported, whatever the case may be, they know they can pick up the phone at midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because family picks up and shows up for you. Yeah. And it has been proven over time, because that was the culture we've created. Dee also has said, like, our kids that get put in our class, like a bunch of misfits. Like, how does this even work between the jocks and the goths and the, the nerds? And, like, but they will fight for each other like nobody's business.
Absolutely.
Once they trust each other. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where did you all get your ability to mentor kids? Because I feel like it's a skill set. I mean, it is a skill set.
This is a good story.
And to your point too, like a lot of kids, it's either two paths, right? You have a situation at home where you can ideally look at that and be like, this is how a family should look like, or it's the direct opposite of that.
Right.
And I'm gonna try to do my best, but I really don't have a path, and I'm not clear on how to make that happen because my household was broken at some point, right?
Right.
So, as far as mentorships go, I mean, I'm a big proponent of mentorship. I've coached a lot in my background, and it's just I've always found it like I'm gonna zag where, someone else zigged in my past, right?
Right.
And so that's where I'm gonna kind of find my sweet spot, and I'm gonna fill that gap.
Yeah.
So, like, how does that work out for you three as far as like finding your passion for mentorship?
Let me start that one. So I will say Elevate is very, very, very unique because of what you're talking about. Very special, especially. So for me, when I was 17 and life was lifing, and I very, very, very easily could have went the opposite direction. But it wasn't until a mentor stepped into my life, showed me that she cared so much for who I was, and not to let the things that was happening in my life become a tool, a crutch rather than a tool. And so this mentor helped me to get through graduation, helped me to get my AA, and then my bachelor's, bought my first house, helped me to get my master's, was at my wedding. And that mentor is my boss today. My mentor was Miss D when I was 17 years old. And so
She's dating me, y'all. She dated me.
that was only a couple years ago. That was just a couple years, nothing. But what makes it super unique was that she had a mentor, and her mentor was connected, and Miss Amanda and we actually got to do life together in high school in another organization, but that's where we got to kind of meet Miss Lorraine. And so, this is something we've been doing, not even having anything to call it or support or resources behind it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think to your point, we've done it, and so we see how it works in life, right? And so because we've done it, we've all done it in different spaces away from the organization before we even came here. And so for us to say, man, that really works, and we were just doing it because it works. And so with Elevate, it gives us a name, like Jasmine said, and gives us resources behind it.
Yeah.
But I think we always set out to be what we wanted to have, right? So if they would have had Elevate in high school, I'd have been all about that life. And I'm sure all the rest of it would have been the same way. And so I think anywhere where you're shown love, where you're shown being accepted no matter what, where there is no conditions. I'm going to be there for you.
Yeah.
So I'll let you wallow when you trip and fall for a little bit. I'll check on you. You good? You still want to stay down there? You ready to get up yet? Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. My tantrum.
Yes, but exactly. And so, but I think other people in life did that for us.
Yeah.
And so when you have people that stepped in the gap for you, then that's what you want to do for others.
Yeah.
So I think all of us in this organization have been in a space like that, where somebody stood in the gap for us. And somebody helped guide us. Somebody loved us at our ugliest. Somebody let us have our tantrum and our pity party. And then they checked in and said, you ready? You ready to get up? And, so all the things that they did for us, we want to be that for others. And all of us just feel very strongly about pouring into the youth and the ones that are coming up after us. Because they're going to be making the decisions for us when they get old enough. And so if we can have a little bit of help and pouring in and what that should look like in a healthy way, then we're going to be about that too. But I think to the point of how our hiring is just so extensive, I think the whole point of that too is letting people know this isn't just a job. If you treat it as a job, it's hard, and you probably will leave as quick as you came.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like a calling in your life. This has to be something that's bigger than yourself. It has to be bigger than just a job. It has to be something that it's hard, but it brings you joy at the same time. And even when you're in the hard, hot trials and mess of it all, that there's still some light there. And so those are the people that we want to come alongside our kids, because they have that grit. Yeah. They have the people who are in it with them. And so they have those experiences that we can give to our kids and have them kind of grow up into those same kind of spaces.
Yeah. So. And when it comes to, so this is the story of the mentoring, right? We've been doing it because we've experienced it. But when it comes to our staff, they have similar stories, right? They had the mentoring done for them and now they get it. But not everyone at every time is ready for this kind of work, right? People who are self-aware, people who are willing to be vulnerable. Those are the ones that we want to invite into this family because they're open, they're ready and willing, because kids, again, I know it's cliche how many times we say it. If we're not real with who we are, they're not going to be real with who they are. They're going to have those barriers to connection. So I think that's a huge part of this.
But your guidelines that you're setting up for your staff are really the guidelines for your kids too.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, they're the parallels are very close.
We model it, and if we don't, then you're just not ready to be here then.
Right.
As a person, like we would
Because
love
kids
to
will call
have
you out on
Yeah.
it. Because they will call you out on
Yeah.
it.
Quickly.
They are paying attention more so to how you're living and what you're showing them than what you're teaching them. So if those don't line up, they will be the first to tell you. So that's why I think it's so important that our environment, our culture shows that we need you to live what you're saying and what you're teaching. Because if you're not, they're not listening and they don't care.
Nope.
So,
There's some
yeah.
D's knowledge.
She drops it. She drops it.
Got
I hope you
the
catching what she
knowledge.
dropping. I mean, she drops it. I'm telling you, she
Hey,
stay
I
on
have an amazing team. They just pour into me, so it just comes out.
Yeah. So what are let's kind of talk about something you guys have coming up that's really
it. Oh
exciting.
yeah.
So we're gonna do the 15th year celebration.
Woo woo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elevate Phoenix Invitational,
Yep.
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Hosted by Tom Lehman.
Yep.
Yes.
This is number 8.
This
right?
is our
Number
8th
Number
year.
8.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
why don't you guys tell us about that? What's that event?
Yes. So our Elevate Phoenix Invitational, hosted by Tom Lehman, is always about a celebration. So this year is Elevate Celebrates History in the Making. And I think it is just so cool to go back and look back about where we've came from, where we are, but most importantly, where we're going. Because we started with Miss D's class, what was it, 28 students in that
28
class?
students in the very first class.
And now we are celebrating impacting the lives of close to 6,000
Wow.
students. So our whole focus
You should
is...
get to work, Dee.
Yeah, you know, come on. Quit being so lazy.
Come on, ladies.
No, but it's really important for us to have the opportunity to share and invite people to come alongside who have a passion and a mission alignment, truly. And this is like the best way to showcase in a really fun, cool way. So November 17th, this is Sunday, we have this beautiful gala that, you know, we have the stars studded, everybody's looking good, smelling, sounding, it's just nice. You know what I mean? It's just, we just come and we bring the kids out, they're dressed out. I love seeing our babies dressed up. It's just like, I just love it. But I think that's the people's favorite thing to see is they're coming and the kids are the ones like cheering them on, like they're the ones that did something, because you got to remember there is no our organization, our program without our supporters and our sponsors and our people that pour back into us. But just the same way, there's nothing to support if we're not doing our part well. So it's just this beautiful give and take. And so the invitational is just that. It's a huge celebration for people to come, learn, see who we are, what we do, and how we do it. But the most important is why. Because everything we do leads with our why. And we're inviting other people to share their why and say, you know what, my why matches your why. It don't got to look the same, sound the same, or be the same, but it feels the same way and it supports making a difference for our future generations. And so we have our gala the Sunday night, and then the following morning, we shut down the Phoenix Country Clubs. The Schwab just got done happening. The golf course is in pristine, I can't even talk today. It looks good.
Yes.
And we literally shut it down. We have these.
I love it.
All right.
Less is more, guys.
Oh, my son told me that when he was like 6. So anyway, I'm learning still. I'm still learning. Turned 18 today and still trying to, take his advice. So literally we have groups of 3 players get to come alongside and play with a celebrity as their fourth. And it is so much fun. The golf course, we have food trucks. Oh my gosh, I think
food trucks are my favorite.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's favorite times. The putting contest, the Morgan Stanley putting contest. We have some amazing sponsors with our corporate partner, the Carlisle Company. Shout out, thank you so much, Carlisle.
Thank
you. They literally do so much over the entire year that they get to see this all come together. But then we have people like Tony Cristione, who is the gala title sponsor. And then we have our Golly Plastic Surgery and Unicorn Philanthropy, who is the golf sponsor. This speaks volumes to them as the title sponsors to say, we believe in what is happening at Elevate so much that other people come alongside. And you have people like Ray Barton of Gray Clips, who was like, you know what? I'm in, sign me up. And the Markleys, oh my gosh, Colin and Nancy, they made a support just like Tony Criscione for 5 years, being top sponsors because they want to see what we're doing thrive. And also many more. But at the end, oh my gosh, the Woodenbergs, are you kidding me? They, outside of the event, they are like investing in our kids for scholarships. But everybody finds a way to make this an event that just last year we were able to raise $1.4 million in a weekend.
Yes.
And that goes back to our staff, our kids, and people seeing these babies are worth the investment. So we can't think, I mean, our board, oh my gosh, Tom Lehman, Tony Montgomery, I mean, Mike Tope being our chair. These board members have the heart to say, you know what, we're going to invest in something big because our kids are even going to be bigger.
So with that being said, how do you measure, I mean, there are many ways.
Oh, yeah.
But how do you measure the success of the organization? Like, what metrics do you use?
That's a good question.
So many.
You're trying to stump us today.
I'm gonna lead in. I'll lead in with that a little bit then. So I feel like the first time I came across you actually was last year.
Okay.
It was the golf tournament. And I met Jazz within the first minute. I think
sounds about right.
I think I was giving you a hug.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Bring it in. Yes.
Bring it in. But you know, I was looking at these stats and your graduation rate compared to these kids that aren't in your program. I'll let you share the numbers, but I was amazed. Well, first off, I was amazed that they were that low without you guys involved in the Phoenix metropolitan area. I was kind of blown away. So if you guys could speak on that, on how you got there and kind of where you see things going from there. Because, you know, you mentioned a ton of sponsors in our community that are backing you. And, absolutely. You know, they want to see, you know, what are the results? So, you know, those numbers are very fun numbers to share.
Here's the thing.
I told this guy.
The metrics of success are a byproduct. Like, they're not our focus, right? I mean, they're great. Yes, we want kids to graduate. Yes, we want them to have a higher GPA. Yes, we want their attendance to be better than the average student. Yes, we want them to do well in all other classes, not just ours. But that's the byproduct. So the way we see it is we're seed planters, right? And even sometimes we are the waterers. Sometimes we even reap the fruit of our labor. And I think those of us who have been here for a while, we get to see that. But initially, we're seed planters, right?
And pruners.
And pruners. It's hard, right? You get this kid, and we tell the schools that we're in, hey, give us the bottom half of kids. Now, not just the bottom half of kids.
That's cool.
We serve that demographic because we do want to really come alongside and help raise up leaders again, so that they come back and enhance their own community. Right. So they raise up their own community. While at the same time, we say, hey, give us a sprinkle of the kids that are university bound, that maybe want to be a teacher, or ones that want to change their community already. They have this leadership mindset already. But those are just a sprinkle. And so the way that I see it from the education perspective is, hey, we believe that every single kid that is in our class is put in there on purpose for a purpose. And so it's our job to really see them as, hey, you're capable of success, no exceptions. Right. And it's our job to really mine that. To dig and dig and dig and shine and cut away and do all these things in love, so that once you stand alongside some kid that's going to an Ivy League school, you can compete. And maybe that's not their journey. Awesome if it is. But maybe that's not their journey. But the point is that you came into our classroom one way and you left completely changed. And so that's for me, I get excited about that.
Yeah.
Right. I before I came to this field, I was working for the city of Phoenix. I was running a violence prevention education program. And so we went around, we taught some great things, awesome workshops all around the city, how to stay out of a gang, how to make good choices, teaching kids about self-esteem, stay away from drugs, like all the good things. But who would follow up after, right? Who would walk alongside this kid and check in? Hey, are you doing that? Hey, how's
are you
that
applying
going?
it?
Hey, watching
Accountability.
for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so this for me is it. It's not just that education is the great leveler, right? The great thing that
Equalizer.
That's it. It's not just that. It's no, you need a support system around you
as well.
And so for me, I guess you can say the success is measured really by, are you accepting the support around you? And are we doing what we said we would do when we said, hey, come to us and we will come alongside you and really figure out your path with you.
Yeah.
And then equip you to get there.
Yep.
So that's what it is for me.
No, that's so good. And I think that so many people have that or mindset, and Elevate really comes in with an and.
Yeah.
Right? So we're an and mindset. So we're taking all these pieces, and because it's the byproduct, we are seeing kids that were once dropping out at 52% are turning around, going through our program and graduating at 98%.
Yeah.
And then we turn around and see them. These are our first generational high school graduates. These are our they're graduating. They're not only just being the first in their class, but now they're paving the way for their siblings and their friends and their cousins. And so we're seeing a whole lot more of generational impact.
Yeah.
And then we turn around and tell them, okay, good job, but this is not where it ends, right?
Yeah.
Now we tell them, try on college, because not all of our kids are college bound, but that's okay. As long as you try it out. And so when they get to do the RISE program, me as their first college professor, we tell them, okay, now that you tried it out, if college is for you, great, we're going to help you get more scholarships. But if it's not, what about a trade or a certificate? And if not, what about the military? And if not, how do we get you plugged into the workforce? Well, 100% of our kids that go through our program and our summer bridge program, the RISE program, have a post-secondary plan because they're staying plugged in and taking what we're pouring in. And now they are staying a part of our alumni who are giving back. It's the whole give back we keep, harping on because it's such a big deal. And now we're seeing these kids becoming our interns for Elevate, or our workers, or working for companies and corporations that say that we're investing in us at one point. Now they're really starting to see that ROI. They're seeing that fruit because now that's becoming our workforce. And they're like, oh, we want a kid from Elevate because they're proven leaders, because they show that grit. They show that positive work ethic. They show integrity. They show responsibility. Everything that we've been training them up, it wasn't just cool to regurgitate a definition. No. They are living out these spaces and these character qualities and life skills because they've now had a place to actually practice, put it into practice.
I love that full circle mentality that you all have. So with that being said, where do you see Elevate going from here? What are maybe some fun things on the horizon? I can tell there's some ideas.
Just a few ideas.
Could take over the world, Pinky.
Pretty much. That's our plan. I think, we are very strategic in how we move. So for one, we always want to be a blessing to the places we're in. So we come as free programming to the schools that we're in, to the districts that we're in. So we raise those funds. So anybody out there with that heart of giving and loving what they're hearing, then be about that. But I think for us too is we want to grow, and we want to eventually be in the 11 largest schools in the Phoenix Union High School District, which translates to 22 schools in all. With our elementary feeder schools and probably just as many districts.
And how many are now?
We are in 4 high schools right now, and we're in 5 elementary schools. We're getting there. The schools that we're currently in, I can name off. So Chavez, Camelback, Maryville and North would be our high schools. We have programming in Bernard Black, some a little bit in Pasteur, and Gateway and Whittier. So those would be our feeder elementary schools in Charleston and Borman. Thank you. Oh, yep. Can't forget Borman. Cannot forget Borman. Yes. So many.
I know.
But just to say that's our start. But we want to make sure too, as we grow into these other schools, that we're sustainable. Like I said, we never want to add on to kids' thoughts or feelings of abandonment. So wherever we go, we want to make sure that we have the sustainability to stay there. Yeah. So that's our end goal. And not to say that we don't grow as we get into those places too, because it takes some time for us to grow out a pipeline, is what we like to call it. So a high school, a feeder elementary school, completely filled out, looks like 6 teacher mentors in that space, 4 at the high school level and 2 at our junior high level, and them going down from first grade really all the way through 12th grade. And even us providing services for our kinder with a digital library. So, and to the rest of the elementary school, we gift that as we go into the schools. But yeah, I think that's the start. Who knows where we go beyond that?
But we're going.
Yes.
We're going.
Our whole goal is to reach over 30,000 students in Phoenix Metropolitan. That's our hearts, to see the whole Phoenix being transformed. And then once we do that, there's no keeping the walls off. I'm just saying. We're going to bust out of Arizona.
And I think raising our staff.
Yes.
We are raising our future workforce.
Yeah.
That's cool.
A few people on staff who are former students.
Yes.
Absolutely. Not all kids are called to this work, but some really are.
Yeah.
And so the goal too is to raise our leaders, and they're going to go into various fields. We'll have some come back here to Elevate, maybe be a teacher mentor, maybe join our development side, our management side. Mm-hmm. But we also have one of our board members who was a former student.
Yes.
And so
yes.
Having that, I think that's another goal.
And I think for us too, the beautiful thing about Elevate is like, we're not just about our programming, right? We're even in our schools, we want to make sure that we are coming in where a need is where we can fulfill a need. And so that looks different for our elementary schools. So our programming can look a little slightly different in those spaces, but wherever they're needed, we want to come alongside. But our whole purpose too is, as we're pouring into the youth, they get to take that back to their families, these healthy things that go back to families, and the families that are in those communities are changing. And so they're being, fed into the goodness of what that looks like and wanting more of it. So even our high schoolers go down to the elementary school. It's so funny because they see them in the community. Yes. So they're like, hey, I know him. Like, and this has happened to my own son. He was in his freshman year, and he had a kid. Like, I went to go take him to get shoes at, what is that? One of the stores in South Phoenix. And one of the kids were like, I know him. And I'm sure the parent is like, how do you know that? And then it's like, we get to talking, and I, meet the parent, and is like, oh, that's my Elevate kiddo. Like, I go down to his classroom and I teach him about character, qualities, life skills. And they're like, oh, my kid told me about this. And so me getting to meet the parent, and that's what like connects the community. And so when we can have these, what we say small changes or the seeds, we'll say the seeds of the change, right? Then it just branches out. So you look at change within the kid, you look at change even within their school culture, you look at change within their families, change in the community. So if we can help it all, like, we want to be a change agent, like in the state of Arizona, if we're honest. We want our branches to reach out that far to know that we're just seeds being able to affect change in a big way.
Yeah. Without giving away too much of what I'm going to talk about at the big event, I like to look at Elevate as bamboo. And if anybody knows what bamboo does, it takes, but it takes a long time in the beginning. Like when you plant bamboo seed, it takes 4 to 6 years before you ever see anything. Okay. Because it is establishing everything to be strong and foundationally sound. So they are building not just wide, but deep roots. So by the time bamboo finally breaks the surface, then it feels like it almost overnight success, how fast they would go to 90 feet. And so many people are like, oh, is that overnight success? But no, it took like years in the making to finally see what people get to see. So people look at Elevate like, oh my gosh, you're oh so successful. But it took a lot of foundational work. So
blood, sweat, and tears.
yes,
all of it.
Sleepless
Yes,
nights,
yes.
morning calls.
Let me give you-
I'm crying too. You crying, me too.
I'm not crying, you're crying. No, but
Yes.
no, like one story in particular, small, very fast story. You know, I had a student my very first year, and this boy, he was a part of the system. So he lived in a group home from age 8. And like when he came in, he was so guarded, and like you saw every guardrail up, you know, just ready to you know, I don't care who you are, you're not going to know me. And I mean, in trouble left and right all the time. And, you know, it was just so crazy because he would at least answer every question very honestly. Don't ask questions you really don't want to know.
Yes.
And, you know, he literally allowed us to chip away at his heart and remind him that he is loved, he was valuable, he was worth it, he had something to give. I remember in our class, he's like, well, everybody in this world is going to know my name, right? And I'm like, as long as it's for the good. And it was really hard because, you know, he aged out of the system while still being in high school. And so he actually became homeless in high school. And, you know, other teachers brought him in. And his last semester of his senior year, he gets into this big old fight, who at the time was his girlfriend. Happy to say they're married today, but at the time, girlfriend gets in a fight. He gets expelled, not suspended, expelled his senior year. He comes to me, he's like, Miss, I know you tried it. You tried to make me, you know, be okay, but I'm probably going to end up dead or in jail. So sorry, I couldn't meet your expectations. Oh, no. That's not the way this works. Yes. And so we came alongside him, found him the way to get all of his makeup credits, showed him how to graduate, showed him how he can advocate for himself. He went off to ASU, graduated, came back. He and that one that he got in a fight for ended up getting married, became Elevate Phoenix's first alumni president. Yes. And he is still giving back to us now, even though he's working full time, has a beautiful family, but his entire family is a part of Elevate. His fiance was a part of our class. I'm not saying, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Bailey. Your wife. I got to marry Bailey and Letha were a part of our class, but just like the bamboo, it took years. And now they feel like it's overnight success. Like they are in a healthy, loving relationship, marriage with beautiful 2 baby kids that are living out what we've taught them over the years. And now he is giving it back, and he just doesn't know it yet, but he'll be our next board member. Just like Brian. But these are the stories, and we have so many of them that any one of us can pull out a story and show the impact that's Elevate has. But that's what it's all about, is to show like this is not just something that is let me go ahead and send a $1,000 check. No. This is worth the investment for the years to come, because when we say we want to like build those long terms, that means to the specifically to our donors alike, right? We want, don't get me wrong, we'll take a one and done check too, but we prefer donors who want to come alongside us for the long term to see how this investment continues to grow. And that's why we even started this program called Champions of Change. Yes. Where a lot of our donors could get in at a level, $37 a month. $37 a month will turn around and support a kid for an entire year. But we're looking for those people to have a true touch point with our kids. So now everybody in the community, everybody, and we were very strategic about this, because if you are an individual filing single on your taxes, that just means you just gave your whole Arizona tax credit to Elevate Phoenix. So you supporting one kid is also allowing you to get your tax benefit, but now the impact is so much greater every single year. And then you get to hear stories like Bailey or Brian or all of our kids, right? These are
Yeah.
just a few. And so when we call it the champions of change, just like we talked about our hope holder is holding that hope for our kids
Yeah.
until they can hold the hope for themselves. We give an award for that, you know, when somebody's exemplary showing this hope holderness.
We made the borrow words too, by the way.
Get the book of Jasmine, get the dictionary of Jasmine. But now we also want to, you know, really show and highlight that it takes our hope holders, but it also takes our champions of change.
Yeah.
Everybody to come alongside, to walk alongside, not just our kids, but Elevate as a whole, because it takes some organization to make this all happen. And we don't just do it all. We partner. We really say it really takes a village.
It does. Yeah.
And so we are proud to say all of us as a village will make sure that we continue to pour into these kids.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I guess that's a great way of saying, you know, statistically, this is what we do.
This works.
I mean,
it works.
it is. It's more than just the numbers.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have some amazing stories over the years and lives and just generational impacts over the years, which is
absolutely.
I don't know if you can ask for anything more than that.
Right.
No, I mean, literally, I'll say this. So many times people turn around and don't quite grasp what Elevate Phoenix is. And all we can truly say is come and see. We're sharing the Elevate Phoenix 101. Here's the thought process. Okay, we're a nonprofit organization. We're embedded in the high schools. The most at-risk students are where we're trying to place ourselves first and foremost, because every kid matters, but these kids are the ones that are needing the help now, immediately.
Right.
And we have the perfect platform being inside of the schools as a teacher that earns the right to do life with our kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week as their mentor.
Yeah.
What makes us unique than all these amazing other organizations out there is that we are inside of the schools and the and mindset, and we are their mentors. And so when they're going down, they're teaching the different things that we're teaching them in high school. They are held at a whole nother level of accountability for those 13 character qualities, life skills, leadership skills. And they're making sure that it's not something that they're just, oh, this is cool curriculum, but this is a lifestyle. And that really earns us the opportunity to say, hey, we're in your life to be a part of your life for life, family for life. And then they turn around and have somewhere to actually put it. Yeah. So when they graduate and they're being a part of that post-secondary plan that 100% of our kids are at, but now they're alumni and they're giving back and they're becoming these contributing citizens that one day will turn around and say, hey, little kid, I was in your seat. Let me tell you why I know you'll make it.
Yes.
The Elevate Phoenix 101 that we give you today and that we invite all of you to be a part of. It's life-changing. It's transformating and transformative. And if you want to see anything work, invest in this. Because this is what makes a difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I can't follow that up. So.
This is what we mean by everybody needs a jazz.
Everybody needs
It was
a
like,
jazz.
drop the mic, we're done here. I have nothing else to add to that. Yes.
Well, I will say I've been looking forward to this day, so it's been an honor and privilege to interview you today.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
share with our
Honor.
audience a little bit more about Elevate Phoenix and what kind of impact they're having on our community in Phoenix. So again, it's been an honor. So
Thank you. The honor's ours, truly.
It really is. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
So, well, inspiring stories, incredible people. That's what nonprofits in the Valley are all about. So keep supporting the cause that you believe in, and we'll be back with nonprofit goodness, and because we care.
Yes.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.